Hey guys, today we're going to focus on, I want to show you how to identify a coin that's essentially dying and that's on the way out versus a coin that potentially might still have a chance of recovery. So if you're holding a Moonbag in a coin that's already migrated from Pump Fun and it's doing quite well, and then there's a drop off, how do you identify the ones that might have a chance of recovering from that drop off versus the ones that are essentially going to die from that point forward? So let's talk about some principles. We can look at some charts and have a look at some principles that we need to look for to identify the two scenarios. Obviously, when there is a drop off, the first question you need to ask yourself, is this coin dead? Is it going fully out, or is this going to recover? And the reason why you need to ask yourself those questions is you need to know whether to still hold that Moonbag or to sell out. Because if something drops from, let's say, 300,000 to 100,000, you need to know whether you should sell out at that 100,000 mark or whether this is going to recover to 300,000 or maybe even go past and actually achieve a new all-time high. So the reason why I say Moonbags is at this point in time, if you've watched the other videos about trading that we've done in Based, and you should go back and view those if you haven't, we talk about the principle of scaling out your position as the coin rises. So really, by the time that a coin hits a few 100,000, you should only have a Moonbag left. You should have scaled out most of your position. You should already have taken profits, taken out your initials and profits, and really have a Moonbag left. Now, how big that Moonbag is depends on how fast the coin rose, when you started to scale out. If you started to scale out at 5x, you could probably have the majority of what you initially bought as a Moonbag. That's fine if you think the coin is going to do well. If you started scaling out at a 2x, you might only have a tiny percentage of what you initially bought as a Moonbag. Either way, that's irrelevant. What we need to find out is how do we ensure that we extract that last bit of profit at the optimal time and not at a bottom. So let's have a look. We can go into a coin, just a random coin. Obviously, it has to be one that's migrated. Let's have a look at this coin, for example. So yeah, so this coin is a good example, I guess, and we can have a look at some other ones. All of these charts, I guess, are going to have a similar pattern. If we look at this baby Zeus, yeah, you see that there's some drop-offs and then recoveries. Now, I think it's good to bring up actually baby Zeus versus something like a Dexter here. Now, while we're doing this podcast, I'm going to tell you the principle of this looks organic. This chart looks a lot more organic than this chart. This chart to me looks like an artificial pump, and this to me looks like it's going to rug pull at some stage. Okay, now I want to see by the time that I finish this podcast whether I'm right or wrong on that, and that's going to give you some indication of some of the things that I look out for and that you need to look out for when you're looking at having a Moonbag in some of these positions. Okay, so the first thing there, as you can already see, is look at the volume. Look at the volume and the chart pattern. When you see a chart that's had multiple swings, but it seems like the overall pattern seems to be kind of up. If we draw effectively like a little line, you can see that the overall trend is up and into the right. That's generally a good indication, right? If you draw a trend line and you see that the coin is trending mostly up and into the right, that's one good indication to look out for, that you're in something that's potentially gonna still has the chance to recover, even at these points here, at the low points. Even when you have the low points here, there was a nice floor that was developing. It never broke that floor, and it was still kind of trending up, as you can see here, but it never broke this floor, and effectively It all it did was it ran up too quickly initially, and it was reverting to the mean, as you can see, the mean of this trend line, and then it kind of hovered there for some time, and obviously broke this trend line again, which is incredibly bullish. So I expect that this coin seems to be doing well, and it's probably going to be going up. Now this is, just one indicator, and these are the technicals and the volume indicators. Volume, you look for the last, let's say, 6 hours, it still has 185k of volume, which is very, very good for a coin that's, a day old effectively, or at least, a few hours old, like 6, 7, 8 hours. 6, 7, 8 hours, or even 5 hours, 4 hours in Solana is a lifetime. So when you have a coin that's that old and it still has 100,000+ of volume, that's a very good indicator that that coin is doing well. So the technicals are important, right? You want to look at the technicals, make sure it's going up in the overall direction as you zoom out of the coin is up and into the right. And that's a very good indicator. Now, I want to show you that because the scammers also know that that's the principle that you look for. Up and to the right is what you'll see with a lot of coins, that are manufacturing that on basically they're manufacturing that by themselves on a rug pull. They're obviously trying to make you think like, from an optics perspective, oh, it's a good coin, it's up into the right. Yes, we've had some dumps, but the overall trend is up. Okay, so that's a good indicator, but it's not the only indicator that we need to use. So the second indicator we need to use is effectively, we need to look at the non-technical aspects, the fundamental aspects of the coin. And the first thing that you want to do is there's this search Twitter button that you can click, right? And it allows you to search through Twitter and have a look who's posting about the coin, and what kind of community there is for the coin. So you can basically hover over people, have a look how many followers they have, are they validated accounts. This account seems like a little bot, not a good indicator that it's a good community, not a big following account. So okay, decent account, doesn't look like a bot, seems like an investor, verified account, has 2,000 followers, not too bad, and he's kind of actually putting a little bit of thought and effort into posting a tweet. So these are the kind of tweets that you want. Here's another one, where it's, you want to make sure that you see people, normal people, not these bots where they're saying new launch, like where it's, you can see that it's like a automated tweet essentially. You want to see people posting about the token. If you see real looking people and real posts about the token, you can see here there's quite a decent amount. That's another good indicator that this token has an actual active community. Now this one I would say is 50-50. This is related to Dexter. It's 50-50 at this stage. It doesn't really have much of a community. There's not too many posts from what I would call organic community about the coin. So we only search for the contract. So let's search for the ticker. So it's Dexter, and let's see if anybody else is posting from there. Okay, again, the Crypto Rug Muncher is actually a decent KOL. Like I wouldn't even call him a KOL. He's kind of somebody that basically exposes scammers. So he says, looks like famous Dex uses platform 1 million followers and extra scam his community on Dexter. But this was from February 6th, so this is not related to this Dexter coin. So this is another Dexter, so that's irrelevant. 11 minutes ago, I gave you Dexter at 40k. It did a 9x. I gave you 10 minutes. So this guy, Darka, looks like some guy with 80,000 followers. Okay, that's positive that there's somebody like that posting about the coin. But not a lot of, from what I can see, not a lot of organic. There is some organic posts, but mostly these botted posts about this coin. There doesn't seem to be much of a community there. So even though this is going up and into the right, It has one positive indicator. The community first fundamental indicator is in my view negative. So it's a risk. If you have a Moonbag, you're now at risk with this one. With this coin here, let's have a look at the same principle. My feeling with this coin is it's going to be effectively similar. You'll have a bunch of bot. This is like a bot post. Again, a bot post. Somebody's, again, join my private group. It's kind of like enticing people to join their groups by doing fake, like I call this coin at this market cap. So it's a bunch of bots. Doesn't seem to be very organic. Doesn't seem to be a community. Again, all botted posts. So both of these, I would say, high risk at this stage because the fundamentals are quite bad. Both from a volume perspective on the 6 hours, this one has 700,000. This one on 6 hours has 200,000. Both volumes are very good. That's the other indicator that I use, volume at this stage. So they have two positive indicators, trends up and to the right for both, and volume is good, two positive indicators. Technical ones, the community formation, pretty bad at this stage. What we would look at as well is there any websites? Okay, there's a website here for Dexter. So somebody's put a little bit of effort into Dexter. That's a good indication. And let's see for Baby Zeus. Baby Zeus doesn't have any website. We can have a look at Dex Screener because sometimes they'll update Dex Screener with the website. So let's open up Dex Screener and have a look at Dex Screener. Okay, Baby Zeus seems to have a website updated here. So let's have a look at the website. Okay, decent website, decent enough. Actually, somebody's put in a little bit of effort into this website to actually make it decent. So that's positive. There are telegrams. So I'm not going to click into Telegram now, but one thing you would do is go into the Telegram chat and see how the community is from a Telegram perspective, if there's a decent amount of engagement. At this point, after looking at that, I initially thought this was kind of manufactured a little bit and it might be a rug pull. I'm not so sure. It still looks like it could be, but I would put it still in a high risk category just because of the overall chart pattern. And there's no community. Yes, there's a website. There's some decent indicators, volume. This Dexter, I would also put in like a medium to a high risk category. I would certainly not be keeping a massive Moonbag here because I honestly think from what I've seen initially here, that both of these coins have a big chance of being just dead completely in the next few hours. And, you don't want to be in a high risk position. What you want to be in, where you want to be holding, even through dips, is if you go onto X, if you go into Telegram, and you see a vibrant community vibing, picking up dips, they're not talking about the price too much, they're not despondent, they're not unhappy, they're still vibing, they're loving the meme. Those are the dips, those are the tokens through which dips you should be holding. Other tokens that don't have an active community, people are not sharing them on X, they don't seem to be too excited about the coin, they're the ones that you need to be scaling out. Even though the fundamentals, let's say the technical fundamentals, the technicals of the coin might look decent like these do. Both of these look decent from a technical standpoint. Volume is there, up and to the right, but the fundamentals are not great. I would be looking to scale out of these coins, and keep a very, very small amount. And certainly would be looking to scale out on any dips because at any point in time, that could be the last dip before the coin dies. So, do your research, and keep doing your research as you're holding the coin. Don't just do your research up front, buy into a coin and stop at that point in time. As the coin is rising, have a look at how the community is developing. Have a look how the volume is. Have a look who the holders are. The other indicator I should quickly mention is holder count. This one has 1,347 holders. That's a lot of holders. This one has 719. Again, higher risk. Less holders, more risky. So take a look at all of these indicators and then make your decision on whether to hold or whether to sell out.